Alrighty boys, it's race day. Going out on an adventure. As you can see, we got the Fit Street. We got the GoPro. Mounted. Now, it's just time to go push some watts, baby. What's going on, guys? Chris back here with another race video. I know it sounds crazy. Races aren't really happening in 2020 because of everything that's going on. And so when I, found out that there was a race going on, I was like, yes, we're doing it. I just want to go race and put all this training to work. And so what this race is the MAC Criterium Series. MAC stands for Mecklenburg Area Cyclists, one of the two. And it's a series that gets put on down in Rock Hill, South Carolina, just over the border of North Carolina and, maybe 20 minutes from Charlotte, which is pretty close to me. So I was definitely excited to go out and race, kind of hometown race. And so, getting into this a little bit, I have never actually raced a crit race in my life before. And so because of that, I was pretty nervous and skeptical to go out there and race, to be honest, because I've heard about the horror stories and the bad things that come from crit racing, can come from crit racing, as far as getting in a wreck or anything like that. You look on YouTube and all you see are videos of dudes taking some gnarly diggers in crit races, and so that definitely weighed on me, and I was like, what are you getting yourself into? You're gonna get in a wreck, it's gonna be bad, all this stuff. And kind of to add insult to injury on that topic, I had just gotten a brand new Trek Madone bike the Wednesday before the race, so 3 days before the race, and I definitely wanted to race on it because that thing is fast. But in the back of my head, I was like, there's a good chance, I wouldn't say a good chance, there's a chance that you could mess up this bike taking it out in your first crit race. And so I was thinking about that as well, for sure. And kind of like 3 days before, all I could think about was don't get in a crash, hopefully nothing bad happens. So I was pretty nervous, needless to say, coming into the race. But it was kind of funny. We lined up on the start line, and the guy told us the rules and what all was going on, and 3, 2, 1, we started, and everything that I was feeling nervous about left my head, right? I no longer was nervous. I kind of shifted mindsets to where I was like, all right, let's go out, let's work hard and try to do well in our first crit. I don't know what happened, but I just wasn't nervous anymore, and it was a good relief. And I felt ready to just go out and, like I said, push some watts and try to do as well as I could. So coming into lap 2 right here, we're about to cross the start-finish line. The guy in front of me, his name is Ryan, and I had known Ryan previously from a group ride that I do with a bunch of guys on Saturdays, and so I knew he was a pretty strong rider. And like I said, when my mindset shifted at the beginning of the race to kind of do as well as I could, the one of the things that I thought about was, all right, I know Ryan's a pretty strong rider, and if you can stay with him and hold his wheel throughout the race, you're probably going to do pretty well. And so that was kind of my goal when my mindset shifted, right? It was, all right, let's hold Ryan's wheel, let's stay with him, and I kind of felt a little comfort in that because I knew he was a good rider, knew he could handle a bike, and on top of that, like I said, he was a strong rider. So more likely than not, if I was able to stay with him, I should do pretty well in the race. So, these first few laps, my main goal, like I said, was just to stay on his wheel and, do whatever it takes to stay with him, basically. And so as you can see, right, I'm doing a pretty good job of that. We're coming down the big hill. And so just to break down the course a little bit, basically the whole course is either a downhill section or an uphill section. There's, obviously some flats as well, but I kind of saw the course in my mind as 2 sections, right? There's this downhill and then there's this uphill. And because of that, the downhill was kind of where you took your rest and recovered and got ready for the uphill section, because on the uphill section. As you can see right here, we're all pedaling pretty hard. You know, I'm right around, you know, 400, 500 watts. So it's definitely the section of the course where you're going to do all your work. And because of that, the downhill kind of served as the part where you got to recover. So we're coming up the hill and I'm holding Ryan's wheel. Everything's going well. And as you can see, this guy to the left of me, I'm not sure of his name. He has the white polka dot and black kit. I'm not sure of his name, to be honest. I'm sorry. But I had seen in a video that was posted from the race that took place 2 weeks ago by the guys that are right beside me right now. Their team name is Catch Our Vapors. Shout out to those guys. They were pretty cool. We got to meet them and, you know, hang out with them after the race. But they posted a video of the race 2 weeks ago, and the guy that's currently right in front of me was the guy who won the race 2 weeks ago. So in the back of my head, I also was thinking, all right, stay with him or Ryan, you know, one of the two, and you're probably going to do pretty well. So I'm staying right on their wheels, and that's basically where I'm going to place myself until they do something, right? I'm just going to stay with them. I know their experience. They've done career races before. And so I'm just going to basically follow their lead and do whatever they do. And you'll see that play out in the race here on the next lap or two. I'm not sure exactly where, but you'll see that play out in my favor. I stick with them, and it actually ends up, you know, allowing me to, I'm going to spoil it, win the race in the end. So it's pretty cool how what I was thinking actually played out to work and allowed me to win the race. So I'm glad for that, I guess. So yeah, so here's this one big hairpin right here on the course. It's the one kind of turn where you do have to take it pretty like, you know, you got to pay attention on that turn because it's tight and you're usually going pretty fast. But right here, you can see the guy taking off right here. It's actually one of the Catch Our Vapors riders, and he attacks on the downhill section, which ultimately, in my mind, kind of like started the race, right? Because for the last few laps, we were all just in a bunch. Everyone was riding together. And when he attacked right here, we all had to, you know, start pedaling hard to go catch him, right? You can see I'm up there in the 600s, 500 watt range, and definitely pedaling hard. And, you know, this allowed the group to kind of string out and break away from that, you know, initial pack of everyone that started the race. So now the race is on, right? Everyone's chasing, and you can see he falls off a little bit here, but other people are still pushing hard. You know, there's about 5 people in front of me, and I catch up to Catch Our Vapors wheel, and I'm holding on. And so, like I said, right, this started the race and ultimately, you know, allowed things to kind of break up and get the race going. And so we're coming up the back end of the course here, up the uphill section. And as you can see, basically the whole uphill section, I'm pushing some pretty good watts, right? It's like 350 to 500 watts for the most part, you know, the duration of that uphill section. And so, you know, you can kind of see how I was talking about that part being where you do all the work. And then we're coming around for lap 4 right here, and this is where that move happens. Get ready for it. It's right here. You'll see the guy in the polka dot just sprints. Actually, Ryan sprints right past me. The guy in the polka dot is right on his wheel, and I'm like, all right, Chris, you said you're gonna hold their wheels, freaking do it. And so I swerve to the left, and right here I'm on their wheel. You can see me, you know, I'm going 800 watts, 900 watts, just doing it all to hold on. And so I'm pushing hard to catch up to these guys because I know Ryan's on front, and I'm like, dude, Ryan's strong. I got to stay with him. If not, you know, he could break away and it could be bad for, you know, getting away's sake. I don't know. So I'm holding on. We're going hard. And right now we're, you know, we got a fairly good break on the group, you know, maybe 3 or 4 seconds. So we're out in front. And you can actually hear me right here. I'm like, guys, let's go, because I can see them coming around that corner, and I know they're behind us. So I'm telling these guys, let's push hard, let's work together to get away, and, you know, see what happens. So I'm yelling at these guys, and they're not really trying to go too hard. So I'm like, screw it, we're going. And you can see me, I take the front, and I'm pushing, you know, 600, 700 watts going downhill, and getting ready to just, you know, put a ton of work in to try to make this breakaway actually work. And so we're coming up the back hill section. I'm pushing, you know, like you can see on the screen, 600, 500 watts, and I'm holding that for a while. And what happens is I come up this uphill and I push it pretty hard. And I don't think the guys were ready for me to like push the uphill that hard, because previously we had kind of taken the uphill pretty relaxed. And so I pushed pretty hard up the uphill, and there's probably 3 guys on my wheel. And the guy in the blue right here, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, takes off. And I'm like, all right, you know, you pushed it hard, try to recover, but also, you know, you got to get back on his wheel, because you're in this breakaway, you know, getting away from the group. And now that you're in the breakaway, don't like stop working and not allow the breakaway to actually succeed. So I'm just thinking, keep working hard. The breakaway will, you know, potentially work if you do so, and you'll be able to stay away from the group. So now you can see Ryan gets on front and he's pushing hard. You know he is, and I'm right there behind him. You know, that goal of me staying on his wheel, I'm right there. And so now, I'm sorry I don't have a back camera, but now it's just me, Ryan, and the guy behind me, in the blue. Like I said, I don't remember his name, but it's just us 3 in this breakaway. So the guy in the polka dot actually fell off. He went back to the main group, and now it's just us 3. And we get going. We're going pretty good, right? We're, you know, 29 miles an hour on this flat section right here. And it's us 3, and I tell Ryan, I'm like, dude, can we do this? Like, can we actually break away? And he's like, well, we're gonna gosh darn try, because we're already broken away, so what's the point in stopping? And I'm like, heck yeah, let's go. And so, you know, I get on the front, I'm pushing hard. We come into the big, you know, hairpin turn. And as you can see right here on the right, the group is way back there. So we got a good gap on the group right now. And I'm thinking, you know, let's push hard. Let's keep working together. And so I kind of am trying to, you know, get the other 2 behind me on board with working together and trying to, you know, 3-man solo this thing to the end. And I think the best part of all of it is the other 2 guys were right there on board with me, right? They were, you know, their mindset was the exact same as mine. It was, let's work together, let's be a team, kind of 3, and work for one another, you know, 30 seconds or so on the front, you know, peel off and repeat, and try to stay away from this group. Because right here, it's only lap 5, I think, lap 5 of 15. So it's still early in the race. We got a ways to go. And if we actually want to, you know, successfully stay away, the only way we're going to is if we do work together like we did in the race. So it was honestly super awesome to be with these other 2 guys, because they were right there, you know, with the same mindset of me of, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm not going to not do my work. I'm not going to not pull for the other 2 guys. You know, I'm going to do all I can to make this breakaway successful. And so that's ultimately what happened. You know, we can sit here and watch the rest of the laps, but ultimately what happens for the next 10 laps, you know, 30 minutes or so, which is pretty cool, is me, Ryan, and the guy in the blue just took turns pulling, you know, for about 30 seconds or so. One guy would peel off, the next guy would step up. And we did that on repeat for the next 30 minutes. And so, you know, in crit racing, it's pretty rare that a breakaway will hold for that long of, you know, a time, right? Like I said, we were out there on our own, us 3, for 30 whole minutes, and was able to hold the breakaway for the entire rest of the race. And as I keep saying, it was only because us 3 as a group worked together so well, and allowed that breakaway to stay. So as you can see, right, we're in, you know, super fast sped up mode here, but the same thing applies, right? One guy's on the front, he does his pull, he falls off, and, you know, the next guy steps up, takes his pull and does his job. And like I said, we just did that for 30 whole minutes. And man, I just have to say, like, the fact that we were able to do that, and the fact that this was my first crit race and that was the position I found myself in, really lended to like the best possible outcome that I could have had for a crit race. Because like I said, I was pretty nervous of being out in, you know, a pack of 25 guys or so, going pretty fast around a track. And when you're out with only 3 guys, the likelihood of you guys getting into a wreck or like crashing or anything are like pretty much non-existent, right? Because there's not all this crazy, wild stuff that can happen when you're in a group of, like I said, 20 or 30 people. So because of that, I was really happy that this was the outcome of my race for my first ever crit race. It was awesome. I didn't worry at all. I just went out there and, pedaled as hard as I could, basically. And another thing that was kind of funny that kept happening is just by the nature of, how we were taking our poles, I always would find myself taking my pole on the uphill section of the course. And I think that somewhat helped because I'm pretty strong up hills and I can, push it hard up a hill, fall off, recover pretty easily. But I did find myself, by the end, lap 12, 13, 14, really feeling those uphills. I was getting pretty gassed. After my pull, I'd take my pull, I would come off and get behind the wheel and just be like, dang, I'm gassed, I need to recover. And so I would basically, like I said, take that whole downhill section in the draft and recover that whole time. And then we would get to the uphill, the guy in the blue would, flick his elbow and I would be right there to take my pull on the uphill section. And I was fine with that. I didn't care. But it was just kind of funny how I found myself taking most of my pulls on the uphill section. And because of that, I kind of thought in the back of my head, like, when it gets down to the last lap and someone, someone's got to win the thing, I think I'll have a pretty good shot at making my sprint, effort on that uphill section because I'm used to it. I'm used to being out in front on it, and I feel pretty strong on it as well. So I felt like that was, my best shot at sprinting to the finish, was just to give it all I could on the uphill and see what happened. And so you guys will see that play out here in a second. So here we go, coming around the corner for what is going to be the very last lap of the race itself. The bell lap, I guess you could call it. You can hear the bell ringing right there. And so as we come around the corner, someone's got to win, like I just said. And in the back of my head, I was like, all right, so what am I supposed to do now? Like I said, this is my first crit race. I've never been in this position, right? And the guy in the blue was kind of flicking his elbow saying, come pull. And I didn't go around initially because I didn't know if I should, if I should save energy or whatever. But you can hear me right there. I was like, I got you. And so in the back of my head, I was like, screw that. I'm going to keep putting in work for the team. I don't care if it makes me tired and, I get a worse position in the race because of that. I'm going to, be the nice guy, I guess. I don't know what you call it. I'm going to, still be the team player, I guess, and still be willing to pull even though it's the last lap and we're about to, sprint to the finish. So I'm on the front, I'm pulling, and I'm pulling, basically pulling us to the uphill section. And in the back of my head, I was like, Chris, this probably isn't the best idea, because in the back of my head, I was going to make my sprint on the uphill section. And, if I'm pulling coming into that section, I'm already going to be tired. So I kind of stopped pedaling, going down the hill, trying to save some energy. And you see Ryan come around me, and he's not really pedaling too hard either. We're all kind of wondering when a move's going to happen, who's going to do it. You see Ryan here just kind of swerving around, just waiting for something to happen. And I start laughing. I'm like, this is funny, just kind of waiting for something to happen. And you see Ryan right here, he takes an initial kind of sprint, and I'm like, oh, he's going. And then he kind of just chills out. I think we're too far out from the finish, and he realized that it wasn't the right place to take the move. And so I get on his wheel, and we come around the turn, and I say, all right, it's time. I'm going for it. I'm going to sprint as hard as I can from right here. Boom. Push it up to 1,000 watts, and I just give it all I can. I'm thinking, let's just try to give it all you can for 30 seconds. And see what happens. If they hold your wheel and sprint around you at the end, that's fine. You did a good effort. But I give it literally everything I can. You see right here, 700, watts or so, and I'm just sprinting as hard as I can to the finish. We come around the last turn, and I'm still, like I said, just giving it everything. And at this point, I have no idea where they are because I can't see behind me. And you see, boom, take the win, baby. So the sprint, from the uphill section, it held, and I was able to actually come around and take that first place, baby. So pretty awesome. And so after that sprint, I come around this corner, and I honestly felt like throwing up. I was gassed. Luckily I didn't, but I definitely was breathing hard, feeling it, and man, what a great experience. What a great race. So there it is, guys. There is my first ever crit race. Shout out to the MAC for throwing on this race. They have 4 more this fall. 4 more races in the series, and I'm definitely looking to go back and have some more fun with the boys on the crit race course, because like I said, it was an awesome experience. So fun. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll be back in 2 weeks with another race video, and we'll see what goes down. Until then, Chris Webster, over and out, baby.